Hey, peace world. My dog doesn't like when I do when I do any of my content. He just like I'm gonna tap out, bro. You on your own on this. Anyway, that's Apollo, not Apollo Brown, but that's my dog Apollo. Anyway, new music. I think it came out maybe 2 days ago on the 30th. This. Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. My name is Wood. Please consider hitting that subscriber button, bell icon if you care to do that. And then, all interaction or engagement would be appreciated 3,000%. That's sharing the video, leaving a comment, liking the video, etc., etc. I love to hear anybody's viewpoints or opinions on any of the topics that I'm discussing, any of the subjects, headlines, developments, breaking news, etc., etc. So, again, a lot of this is just to find like-minded people or people with similar interests, and to build with those individuals. I'm not trying to say that I'm right on everything that I'm discussing. But new music, though. And before I get into this alter ego Fleeigo Delgado project, looks like we're on the cusp of getting another Griselda project or Griselda affiliated project with Westside Gunn's Fly God is an Awesome God 2. It might be out tomorrow or at least within a week. I saw a track list on there, producers involved and whatnot, and we'll see what Gunn brings along. Now, let's get into this brand new Flea Lord project. Again, I've been checking out Flea Lord's catalog quite a bit. Dude is like trying to put out an album monthly or every other month, every 5 weeks or something. So he drops this new one called Alter Ego Fleeigo Delgado. 10 songs, 10 tracks on there, a host of different producers. It's a little over 23 and a half minutes to listen to it. So for me, it's awesome. If I take a walk, I can listen to it back to back by the time I get done with my walk and kind of vibe out with what, an artist is trying to do. If I had to give this, I'd rather give this on a scale of 1 to 10. I'd probably say 7, 7.5. I'll go into a couple of the tracks here, the 10 tracks. I'm not trying to watch what or be politically correct in what I'm stating, but I think, if you've been listening to music, especially hip hop, that every artist isn't about, or every artist brings his signature, what's going to be appealing to people. And I don't think this is no diss or disrespect for Flea Lord's lyrics, his rapping ability, or his skill level or anything. But for me, I don't think he wins with just word for word lyrics. I think what he delivers to his listeners and his fans is consistency. It's stuff that you can ride to, nod your head to. You can enjoy his production, his ear, the tracks that he tends to or likes to spit over, and then the sequencing of his projects, and then the features that he goes out and gets. I think, and then the overall world. He's one of these rappers, in my opinion, who has, just like a Westside Gunn, but on a different level. He's built a world, and when he releases these projects back to back to back, you kind of get an update or a snapshot on what Flea Lord is up to. How he's interpreting the thing, his daily experiences and whatnot. So I don't know. With an artist like Flea Lord, I don't know if you ever get a classic album per se, or quotable of the the hottest verse of the month, or so on and so forth. I just think you get a very dope project that you either bang out to it or it's not your style. Um, and then when you're releasing albums this frequently, you're amassing a hell of a catalog. But are there going to be? I don't know. I kind of don't. I'll put myself in the corner right there. I like the project, and as far as like the resurgence of East Coast music, I'm all for regional music. Like I can go to each region and rock out to what each region is doing. Now I don't spend a lot of time with the with other regions as much as I do New York, but it's always to see, kind of like I said, what the sound is in New York is doing. I like a lot of the subjects that are being discussed, so on and so forth. So now that I've rambled for 6 minutes, man, let's jump into this album. I'll try to make a note of that for those that want to jump ahead. 10 tracks. I guess if I had to say the standout, I don't think the album finishes great, to be honest. I just don't think that's the strength of this album. But there are 3 or 4 very dope records on here. The Beginning is track number 1, featuring Jay Worthy and T&D Riley. That's produced by DJ Rybe, R-Y-B-E, or Ribby. The beat is filthy. So I love the way that it starts out. It's probably the rawest beat on the project. It's this little chorus. This is the beginning, taken from something, and it's like this sweeping horn with a nice punch in it to make the track. And this kid, I don't know if it's Jay Worthy. He might be the first feature on there, or if it's the T&D Riley. Between one of them, they got a really nice verse, a really standout verse on this project. It's a flow that's kind of Benny or Conway influenced, in my opinion. But dude does a really nice verse on the project. I mean, on the single. And the Beginning gets the album off to a dope start. And he makes a note in here, Flea does, that he was working on Loyalty or Death 2, I believe, but couldn't get that done. And so jumped over to the side real quick and put this project together. So if this is like the afterthoughts of what you mainly set out to do, it's pretty dope that this was like some stuff I had sitting around, but I'm still able to put it out as a dope project. So the Beginning is straight, probably it's in my top 3 or 4 cuts on the album. Track number 2, Idgaf, Who Your Favorite Rapper. I Don't Give a F, Who Your Favorite Rapper. This one is produced by God Bless Beats. I like the beat on this one too. It's kind of beat nuts like a little bit with the way that he has this trumpet or this horn that's featured throughout it. Lyrically, beats per minute is kind of slow, but lyrically, Flea is just talking his talk, man. And one thing that I like, and that definitely appeals to me, is that Flea takes a lot of time on each of these songs to, one, call out the producer, and then in a bar, in a verse, in somewhere in the verses, he's talking about, he kind of makes a quick salute to what's stand out or what's dope about the production. And on here he says something to this God Bless Beats is the producer's name. But lyrically, like I said, with the world building aspect of Flea Lord, he just talking his talk, man. Just talking his stuff. How he looks at the world, what he survived and overcame, and then how he, what he does in his leisure time, how he enjoys his success. It's kind of what you get from him. But he's saying, I don't give a F who your favorite rapper is. I'm doing what I do. It's somewhat kind of disrespectful, because like I said, I don't know if Flea is going to be in anybody's top 5 per se. But he's still developing a hell of a catalog, a very enjoyable catalog. Track number 3 is Living Lavish featuring El Camino. El Camino kind of reminds me of a West Side Gun with a less higher pitched voice. He might be a little bit better of a straightforward. I mean, a little bit better in rapping than West Side Gun, but they're kind of very similar to me. The beat is dope. This is probably my second favorite beat on the project. It's got this little organ or synth sound, and I love how there's like when it gets to the chorus, like these horns come in to kind of break up the verses from the chorus. So I really love the production on here. Solid verses from both Camino and Lord. So Living Lavish is pretty dope. That's produced by Melks. Track 4, Funeral Home, probably my top. It's definitely in my top 3 on the album. This track is produced by Dollar. There's some keys on here playing around with a scale of some kind, and then it's a really dope bass line with some nice percussion that's like a rim shot sound or something. I like how Dollar put this one together. Again, it's just Flea's kind of typical street sensibilities and showing more respect for the sound of the project. You know how he's put this thing together, the producers that he's working with. Funeral Home is another standout joint. And I said over the first 4, in a 10-track album, the first 4 records really get this project cooking. Track number 5 is Hoopty, produced by V-Don. I give about a 3.5 stars on this. Very solid beat, keeping up with the consistency of the sound of this project. The chorus is pretty straightforward. We did a tour in a hoopty. Again, here with Flea, I love the ad-lib. His ad-libs are entertaining, often comical or humorous. And it's just another tale about the day in the life of Lord and kind of documenting his success and how he's, how Loyalty or Death, which is his imprint, is growing. And then what it's doing, you know, to support these projects that he's releasing. Track 6, Lord Family featuring G4 Jag. This one is produced by Milky Fella. The beat is solid. I like that kind of has like a live drum sounding sound to it. It's got some cymbals in there and some little breakdowns and whatnot. So I like that. The beat is solid. Solid verses. G4 Jag, he did a pretty decent job for my first time hearing him. And overall, over these last 4 or 5 tracks that I'm just talking about, I like kind of the jazzier vibe of this project in comparison to the other Flea Lord albums that are out there. It's definitely a more kind of just a different sound, not as dark as some of the other projects that I've listened to. It Ain't Gonna Last. This is the only track produced by Derringer, one of the primary producers over with Griselda. It's straightforward Derringer. Decent. Again, it keeps the sound of the album consistent. Short song, it just fades out. He's in the middle of the verse and it just kind of fades out. To be honest, it's not really a highlight of the album, to be honest. And like I said, as you get towards the last 2 tracks, after some really dope joints up front, the album kind of trends down a little bit, in my opinion. Track 8, Unfinished Business, produced by Vinny Idol. I really like this. This beat is pretty dope. Again, it's just another tale in the day in the life of Lord, just doing what he does and talking his talk. The track number 9 is actually produced by Havoc. Lord is kind of an offshoot descendant of the Mobb Deep, and so it's dope to see Havoc's name out in something new. This beat is it's not my favorite beat on here. It's kind of a simple beat, just kind of a thicker bass line, some percussion. It's kind of like a Mobb Deep album song, kind of, in the later part of their catalog. Decent verses. It's a kid named Mumbles on here. Him and Flea have some solid verses. Again, just doing what they do, man. The last song is the Big Kahuna outro. That's the name of it. It's produced by a producer named Ice Rocks. Pretty mellow track. Again, not the typical, big send-off for album or big, the big finish, quote unquote. But a decent verse from the Flea, talking about the growth of Loyalty or Death, his record label. Uh, and so it's just kind of a salute to another project. You know, putting another project out there and kind of maintaining the work, the output that he's aiming for. So again, I think, man, between the first five, anywhere from those first five joints is the highlight of the album. Again, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. It's not a bad project whatsoever. It's pretty dope, honestly. And again, I just think, man, you get to check out what Flea is aiming for his sound, for the catalog that he's putting together. I know one thing, he was picking up some popularity with being on the road with Griselda, with the main guys in Griselda. I think I've heard Conway mention a couple of times in some of his verses about touring with Flea. I've seen some comments in different video. I mean, on different threads where some fans said they heard about Flea from or learned about him catching them on a tour stop, and it seems like that's what he's doing. He's got a lot of material out here to be able to perform. And I went to a Sky Zoo concert earlier in the year before everything shut down. And there was 4 or 5 guys on there, opening acts on there. One of them was Fillmore Green out of Chicago. And these are good opportunities for these guys to get out there, sell some merch, sell some physical copies, and catch somebody's ear if you actually got something dope to do, a dope song to perform. And I think if you look at Flea Lord's catalog, he has tons of really strong records that, if he was in a lineup at a spot, he would stand out. So I think he's accomplishing what he's trying to do, and makes enjoyable music. I can't say nothing bad about the guy, really. Hey, my name is Wood. This is Pay Me No Mind, Sports and Entertainment. Remember, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great.